The great hall of the High Council was silent. Hundreds of officials sat in their floating chairs, their pale blue skin glowing softly under the crystal lights. At the center of the hall, two young women stood with their heads down. Their names were Ra and a daughters of High Official. The head counselor's voice echoed through the chamber. Ra, daughter of, you have brought shame upon our people. At the Galactic Union reception, you called the human ambassador a barely evolved primate. You laughed at their species in front of 12 galactic representatives. Ra kept her eyes on the floor. Her heart was beating fast, but she refused to show fear. And you, the counselor continued. You helped your sister escape before security could detain her. You lied to protect her disgrace. A younger and smaller than her sister trembled slightly. She had only wanted to help Ra. She did not think they would punish her too. The sentence is decided, the counselor announced. You will both be sent to Earth. You will live among the humans for one standard galactic year. You will have no technology, no status, and no protection. Perhaps living with these primitives will teach you what you failed to learn from books. Ra's head snapped up. Earth, you cannot be serious. That planet is barely civilized. They still burn dead plants for energy. They kill each other over invisible lines on maps. Then you will fit right in, the counselor said coldly. Commander will deliver you tonight. This session is closed. The sisters were taken away before Ra could say another word. Commander was a tall, stern male with silver hair and tired eyes. He had served the council for 40 years and had seen many punishments delivered. But as he looked at the two sisters sitting in his ship, he felt something like pity. You brought this on yourselves, he said as the ship entered hyperspace. The humans are members of the Galactic Union now. Insulting them is not just rude, it is dangerous for our diplomatic standing. They are insects, Ra spat. They live for barely a century. They cannot even travel past their own moon without help. Why should I respect them? Sighed, that is exactly why you need this punishment. You see only what they lack. You do not see what they have. And what do they have? Asked quietly. She was curious despite her fear. Looked at her for a long moment. You will find out, or you will remain ignorant forever. The choice is yours. The ship dropped out of hyperspace near Earth. It was nighttime on the part of the planet where would leave them. He chose a rural area in a country called South Korea. Few people, lots of farmland, and a small town nearby. The ship landed silently in an empty field, handed each sister a small bag containing basic clothing and some human money. Your translation implants are active, he said. You will understand their language and they will understand you. Your skin will look strange to them, but humans are creative. They will find explanations. What about our emergency beacons? Ra demanded. Hidden in your bodies. If you are in true danger of death, they will activate. Otherwise, you are on your own. Paused at the ship's door. Learn well, daughters of, I will return in 1 year. The ship lifted off and vanished into the dark sky. The sisters stood alone in the field, surrounded by nothing but grass and distant mountains. Shivered. Earth's air was cold and heavy compared to there. The gravity pulled at her body in an uncomfortable way. Everything smelled strange, like wet soil and growing things. We need to find shelter, she said. I know that, Ra snapped. She started walking toward the distant lights of the town. Stay close and do not talk to anyone. We will observe first and make a plan. They walked for nearly an hour. The road was rough and unpaved in some places. I was not used to walking on such uneven ground. Her foot caught on a rock and she fell hard. Pain shot through her ankle. She cried out and grabbed her leg. Get up, Ra said impatiently. I cannot, I think something is broken. I tried to stand but fell again. Tears formed in her eyes. This was the worst night of her life. Ra looked around desperately. They were still far from town, alone on a dark road. She had no idea how to help her sister. Then headlights appeared in the distance. A vehicle was coming toward them. "Hide," Ra hissed. "I cannot move." The vehicle stopped near them. It was a small white truck with some kind of picture on the side. A human male stepped out. He looked young, with short black hair and tired eyes. He was wearing simple clothes and carrying a bag. "Hello," he called out in the local language. "Are you hurt?" Ra stepped in front of her sister. "We do not need your help." The human walked closer, ignoring her words. He saw on the ground and immediately knelt beside her. "Your ankle, can you move it?" "Do not touch her," Ra warned. But the human was already examining A's leg with gentle hands. "It is not broken, but it is badly twisted. You need ice and rest." He looked up at Ra. "I am a veterinarian. I treat animals, but I know basic medicine for people too. My clinic is nearby. I can help her there." "We do not need help from," Ra started. "Please," I interrupted. The pain was making her desperate. "Please help me." The human nodded and carefully helped to stand. He let her lean on him as they walked to his truck. "My name is Du. What are your names?" I hesitated. This is my sister Ra." "Unusual names," Du said with a small smile. "Are you from far away?" "Very far," I admitted. Ra sat stiffly in the truck as Du drove them to his clinic. She watched him carefully, waiting for him to demand something in return. That was how the universe worked. Nobody helped others without wanting something. But Du only hummed softly to the music playing in his truck. He did not ask more questions. He did not stare at their slightly glowing skin or their unusual eye colors. He simply drove. The clinic was small and clean. It smelled like medicine and animals. Du helped her onto a soft bed and wrapped her ankle with practiced hands. He gave her something cold to reduce the swelling. "You should not walk for a few days," he said. "Do you have a place to stay?" The sisters looked at each other. They had nothing. Before they could answer, an old woman walked into the clinic. She was short and thin, with white hair and sharp eyes. She looked at the sisters, then at Du. "Who are these girls?" she asked. "Grandmother, they are travelers. They got lost and one of them is hurt." The old woman studied Ra and for a long moment. Then she nodded once. "Runaways from the city, probably. Girls these days have no sense." She pointed at Du. "Bring them to the house. They need proper food before anything else. Look how thin they are." "Grandmother, we cannot just." "Did I ask for your opinion? Bring them." The old woman walked out. Du sighed but smiled. "That is my grandmother. She is bossy but kind. You can stay with us tonight. Tomorrow we will figure out what to do." Ra wanted to refuse. Every part of her screamed that accepting help from humans was beneath her dignity. But it could not walk. They had nowhere to go, and the night was cold. For the first time in her life, Ra had no power, no status, and no choice. "Fine," she said quietly, "just for tonight." Du smiled again, "Just for tonight." But as he helped her to his grandmother's house, Ra felt a strange sensation in her chest. The human had shown them kindness without asking why they needed it. He had helped without expecting reward. It made no sense. It went against everything she knew about how the universe worked. And for some reason, that bothered her more than the punishment itself. One night turned into 1 week, then 2 weeks, then a month. Grandmother refused to let the sisters leave until A's ankle was fully healed. And after that, she refused to let them leave because they had nowhere to go. And after that, she simply stopped asking and started treating them like family. Ra hated every moment of it. The house was small and old. The floors were made of wood that creaked when you walked. The bathroom had no automatic cleaning systems. The kitchen required actual fire to cook food. Everything was primitive, uncomfortable, and exhausting. "This is torture," Ra said one morning as she tried to figure out how to use the washing machine. "On our world, clothes clean themselves. Here I have to put them in this box and wait an hour. An hour." whose ankle was now much better, sat at the kitchen table eating rice and soup. "The food is good, though. Have you tried this? Grandmother calls it. It is delicious." "I am not eating primitive food." "You have been saying that for 3 weeks. You also eat it every night when you think no one is watching." Ra's face turned slightly purple, which was how people blushed. "That is different. I was hungry." "You are always hungry. Human food is not poison, sister. It is actually quite good." Ra did not answer. She finally figured out the washing machine and pressed the button with unnecessary force. Living with grandmother was strange. The old woman asked no questions about where they came from. She did not seem curious about their unusual appearance. She simply gave them chores, fed them 3 times a day, and complained about everything they did wrong. "You fold clothes like you have never seen fabric before," she told Ra one afternoon. "I have not," Ra muttered under her breath. "What was that?" "Nothing, grandmother." Du worked at his clinic most days. He treated dogs, cats, birds, and sometimes farm animals from the surrounding area. His work seemed endless. Animals came in sick or hurt at all hours, and he always helped them. I found herself watching him work. One day, she gathered her courage and asked if she could help. "You want to help?" Du looked surprised. "It is messy work, lots of cleaning, sometimes animals bite or scratch." "I do not mind. I need something to do." So I started helping at the clinic. Her first job was feeding the animals that stayed overnight. She had never touched animals before. On her world, creatures were either food or decoration. The idea of caring for them was foreign. But there was a small brown dog named who had been hit by a car. Both her back legs were broken. Du had saved her life, but she could not walk yet. She needed physical therapy every day. I was assigned to help exercise. At first, the dog was scared of her. She could probably smell that it was different, but it was patient. She sat with every day, speaking softly, moving slowly. After 2 weeks, licked her hand for the first time. I felt something warm bloom in her chest. It was a feeling she had never experienced before. Pride, joy, she was not sure, but she liked it. "You are good with her," Du said, watching them. "She trusts you now." "She is strong," I replied. "She wants to walk again. I can see it in her eyes." Du smiled. "That is the thing about earth creatures. They fight to live. No matter how hard things get, they keep trying." I thought about those words for a long time. One afternoon, a truck pulled up to the clinic. A young man jumped out carrying boxes of fruit. He was tall and broad, with messy hair and a wide smile. His skin was tanned from working in the sun, and his clothes were covered in dirt. "Du," he shouted, "I brought apples, best ones from this year's harvest." Du came out of the clinic, wiping his hands on a towel. "Sung, you did not have to bring so many." "Nonsense. You saved my dog last year. I will bring you apples until we are both old men." I watched this exchange from the window. The man called Sung laughed easily and loudly. His energy filled the entire yard. Then he noticed her. "Oh, Du, you did not tell me you had a beautiful woman at your clinic." He bowed playfully toward the window. "Hello, I am Park Sung. I own the apple orchard down the road." I did not know what to say. On her world, men did not speak to women so directly. They certainly did not call them beautiful within seconds of meeting. "That is a," Du said. "She is staying with my grandmother. She helps at the clinic now." "Wonderful, you must come see the orchard sometime. The harvest is almost done, but there is still much to see." Sung grinned at her. "Do you like apples?" "I do not know," I admitted. "I have never eaten one." Sung's eyes went wide. "Never eaten an apple? What kind of tragedy is this? Here, take one right now. This is a crime that must be corrected immediately." He pulled a red apple from one of his boxes and handed it to her through the window. I took it carefully. It was smooth and cool in her hand. She bit into it. The taste exploded in her mouth, sweet, crisp, and fresh. Nothing like the nutrient paste they ate on her. This was alive somehow. Real. Good, Sung asked. Very good, I said softly. Sung laughed his big laugh again. See, apples make everything better. Come to the orchard tomorrow. I will show you how we grow them. He left soon after, still laughing and joking with Du. I watched the truck disappear down the road, the apple still in her hand. That night Ra found her sister sitting on the porch, staring at the stars. What are you doing? Ra asked. Thinking. About what? About home. I paused. Do you remember our meals at the academy? The nutrient paste that was perfectly balanced for our bodies. The water that was filtered 17 times. Of course it was proper food. It was boring. I looked at the half-eaten apple in her hand. I ate this today, and it was the most delicious thing I have ever tasted. A simple fruit from a tree, and it made me happier than any meal I ever had at home. Ra sat down beside her. You are being foolish. This planet is primitive. These people are primitive. We are only here because of punishment. Are they primitive? I asked. Do work 16 hours a day to save animals that have no value. Grandmother feeds us even though we are strangers. That man's son gave me fruit just because I had never tasted it. Where is the primitive behavior in that? Ra did not answer. On our world, I continued, when I was hurt at school, no one helped me. They said it was not their responsibility. When father lost his position for a year, his friends disappeared. But here, these humans help each other without asking why. They share without counting what they will get back. That is weakness, Ra said. That is how people get taken advantage of. Is it, or is it strength we do not understand? Ra stood up sharply. You are starting to sound like them. Remember who we are, remember what we are. We are better than this. She walked back inside, leaving her alone with the stars. But later that night, when everyone was asleep, Ra crept to the kitchen. She found the box of apples Sung had brought. She took one and bit into it. The taste made her close her eyes. For a moment, just a moment, she understood what her sister meant. Then she buried the feeling deep inside and went back to bed. In the clinic, she could hear Du still working. A cat had come in with an infection, and he was monitoring it through the night. He had been awake for almost 20 hours. Ra stopped at the doorway and watched him. He was talking softly to the cat, telling it that everything would be okay. His voice was gentle and tired and kind. Why do you do this? She asked suddenly. Du looked up, surprised to see her. Do what? Work so hard, lose sleep, exhaust yourself, for animals that cannot pay you, for strangers who might never thank you. Why? Du thought about the question for a moment. Because I can help, and if I can help, I should help. It is that simple. Nothing is that simple. Maybe not where you come from, he smiled at her. But here it is. Good night, Ra. She stood in the doorway for a long time after he turned back to his patient. Nothing about this planet made sense. Nothing about these humans fit what she had been taught. And slowly, so slowly she did not notice it happening, her certainty began to crack. 3 months passed on Earth. The seasons changed from warm to cold. Leaves turned red and gold before falling from the trees. I thought it was the most beautiful thing she had ever seen. On our world, plants do not change color, she told Sung as they walked through his orchard. They are engineered to stay the same all year. That sounds boring, Sung said. He picked up a fallen leaf and handed it to her. The change is the best part. It means the world is alive. It means time is moving. I kept the leaf. She pressed it in a book and looked at it sometimes before sleep. She went to the orchard almost every day now. At first, she only watched the workers harvest apples. Then Sung taught her how to pick them herself. Her hands blistered and her back hurt, but she did not stop. You learn fast, Sung told her one afternoon, for someone who has never worked a day in her life. How do you know I have never worked? Your hands were softer than a baby's when you arrived. Also, You held the apple basket upside down on your first day. A laughed. She was laughing more often these days. Fine, you caught me. Where I come from, work like this is done by machines. Machines are useful, Sung agreed. But they cannot feel the fruit to know if it is ready. They cannot smell when the harvest will be good. Some things need human touch. He reached up and pulled an apple from a high branch. His arm brushed against hers, and I felt her cheeks grow warm. This one is perfect, he said, handing it to her, just like the person I am giving it to. I took the apple and said nothing, but her heart was beating fast in a way it never had before. Back at the house, Ra was changing too, though she would never admit it. She had started helping at the clinic without being asked. She told herself it was because she was bored. She told herself it was just a way to pass time, but the truth was different. She had become fascinated by Du. He was not impressive by standards. He was not tall or powerful or wealthy. He held no political position. He commanded no respect in galactic terms. But every day, he woke up before sunrise. He worked until his body ached. He gave his time and energy to creatures who could never repay him, and at the end of each day, he smiled like he had accomplished something important. Ra could not understand it. On her world, people worked for status, for money, for power. They did nothing without calculating the benefit to themselves. "You are starring again," grandmother said one morning. Ra jumped. "I was not starring. You were staring at my grandson like he is a puzzle you cannot solve." The old woman sat down beside her. "He is not complicated, he is just good. Some people are simply good." "Nobody is simply good. Everyone has selfish reasons." Grandmother laughed. "You sound like you come from a very sad place." Ra did not answer. She did come from a sad place. She just had not realized it until now. The storm came without warning. The weather reports said it would be bad, but nobody expected how bad. The wind howled like a living thing. Rain fell so hard it sounded like rocks hitting the roof. The power went out across the entire town. Du immediately started making calls. Mr. is 80 years old and lives alone. Mrs. Park has 3 young children and a leaking roof. The family just had a baby last week. "What are you doing?" Ra asked. "Making a list. We need to check on people who might need help. In this weather, that is dangerous." "That is why they need help." Du grabbed his coat. "Sung is meeting me with his truck. We are going to visit everyone on the list." Ra watched him head for the door. Something inside her twisted. "Wait, I will come with you." Du looked surprised. "You do not have to." "I know I want to." She did not understand why she said it. The words just came out. But when Du smiled at her, she felt warm despite the cold rain. Sung arrived with already in his truck. The 4 of them drove through the storm together, stopping at house after house. At Mr.'s house, they found the old man trying to cover a broken window with plastic. Du fixed it properly while Ra held the flashlight. Her arms grew tired, but she did not complain. At Mrs. Park's house, the children were scared and crying. I sat with them and told them stories while Sung and Du patched the roof. The children calmed down. One of them fell asleep in A's lap. At the house, the new baby needed medicine, but the family could not drive in the storm. Du gave them supplies from his clinic and showed them how to use them. It took 6 hours to visit everyone on the list. By the end, they were all soaked and exhausted. But when they finally returned home, grandmother had hot soup waiting for them. "Good work," she said simply. "Now eat before you all get sick." They sat around the table together, eating soup and sharing warmth. The storm still raged outside, but inside it felt safe. It felt like family. Ra looked around the table. Sung was telling a joke that made a laugh. Grandmother was pretending to be annoyed but smiling behind her cup. Du was quietly eating, his eyes tired but peaceful. On her, when disasters happened, people locked their doors. They protected their own resources. They waited for the government to solve problems. They certainly did not drive through dangerous storms to help strangers. Why did we do that? Ra asked suddenly. Everyone looked at her. Why did we risk ourselves for people we barely know? The man, the Park family, what do we gain from helping them? Grandmother put down her cup. Nothing. Then why? Because that is what people do. When your neighbor needs help, you help. When the community struggles, everyone works together. That is how humans have survived for thousands of years. Not by being the strongest by being together. Ra thought about they were stronger than humans, smarter, more advanced. But when her father lost his position, no one came to help. When she and Anna were sentenced to exile, no one spoke in their defense. They had technology that could reshape planets, but they did not have what these humans had. On my world, Ra said slowly, people do not do this. When trouble comes, everyone fights alone. Grandmother reached over and patted her hand. Then your world is missing something important. The storm ended the next morning. The sun came out and the town began to clean up. Neighbors helped neighbors clear fallen branches. Children played in puddles while their parents fixed fences. Ra stood outside and watched it all. People waved at her as they walked past. They smiled and asked if she was okay. They did not know her. They did not know what she was, but they cared anyway. Du came to stand beside her. You were good last night, you worked hard. It was nothing. It was not nothing. You could have stayed safe inside, instead you helped. He looked at her with those kind eyes. That is who you really are, Ra, not the angry person who arrived here. This version, the one who helps. Ra felt something crack inside her chest. A wall she had built over many years. A belief that kindness was weakness, that caring was foolish, that people who gave without taking were stupid. The wall did not fall, not yet, but it cracked. And through that crack, something new began to grow. That night it started raining again. Soft rain this time, gentle and quiet. Ra stood on the porch, watching the water fall. Du found her there. He did not say anything. He just stood beside her, sharing the silence. You will get sick, he said finally. You should come inside. He took off his jacket and put it around her shoulders. It was warm from his body. Ra took it without argument, without pride, without the cold mask she usually wore. Thank you, she said. It was the first time she had thanked a human for anything. Du smiled. You are welcome. They stood together in the rain for a long time, watching the water wash the world clean. 6 months on Earth. Half of their exile had passed, but neither sister counted the days anymore. I woke up each morning excited to go to the orchard. She knew the names of every worker there. She knew which trees produced the sweetest apples. She knew how Sung took his coffee and what songs he liked to sing while working. She knew she was falling in love with him. The realization came slowly, then all at once. It happened on a quiet evening when Sung took her to his favorite spot on the hill behind the orchard. The sun was setting, painting the sky in colors that did not exist on her. I come here when I need to think, Sung said. My father showed me this place when I was young. He said the best views are the ones you have to climb for. Your father sounds wise. He died 5 years ago. Heart attack, very sudden. Sung's voice was soft. I almost sold the orchard after that. It was too hard to stay. What made you keep it? I realized the orchard was not just trees and fruit. It was him, his memory, his life's work. If I sold it, I would lose that connection forever. He looked at her. Do you think that is foolish? No, I said. I think it is beautiful. They sat in silence as the sun disappeared. Then Sung spoke again. I need to ask you something, and I need you to be honest with me. Her heart started beating fast. What is it? Where do you really come from? And please do not say the city. You did not know what an apple was. You had never seen leaves change color. You look at cars like they are strange machines. Something about you and your sister is different, very different. A closed her eyes. She had known this moment would come. She had feared it and hoped for it at the same time. If I tell you the truth, you might not believe me. Try me. So she told him everything. The Galactic Union, Ra's insult to the human ambassador, their exile to Earth as punishment, the technology they left behind, the year they were supposed to spend learning about humans. When she finished, Sung was quiet for a long time. "You are an alien," he said finally. "Yes." "From another planet." "Yes." "And you were sent here because your sister called humans barely evolved primates." A winced yes. Sung started laughing. It started small, then grew until he was holding his stomach. "You find this funny?" I asked, confused. "I find it wonderful." He wiped tears from his eyes. "I always knew you were not from around here. You looked at apples like you had never seen fruit before. You asked me what rain was the first week we met. I thought maybe you were from some very strange, rich family. But aliens, that is much more interesting. You are not scared, not angry." "Why would I be angry? You did not choose to come here, and you have been nothing but kind since you arrived." He took her hand. I do not care if you are from another planet or another galaxy. I care about who you are, and who you are is someone I want to know better." I felt tears forming in her eyes. "Sung, I think I am falling for you," he said simply. "Is that okay?" She could not speak. She just nodded and let him hold her hand as the stars came out above them. Ra's truth came out differently. She had been working late at the clinic, helping Do organize medicine supplies. They worked in comfortable silence now, something that would have been impossible months ago. "Ra," Do said suddenly, "can I ask you something personal?" "You can ask, I might not answer." "Why are you so sad?" The question hit her like a physical blow. "I am not sad." "You are, you hide it well, but I see it. When you think no one is watching, your eyes look like they carry something heavy." He turned to face her. "I do not need to know everything, but I want you to know that I am here if you ever want to talk." Ra felt her walls shaking. This human, this primitive creature from a backward planet, had seen through all her defenses. He had looked past her cold exterior and found the broken thing underneath. "I do not deserve your kindness," she whispered. "Why not?" "Because I hated you. I hated all of you. I thought humans were insects. I thought you were beneath me in every way." Her voice cracked. "I was sent here as punishment for insulting your species, and every day I stay I realize how wrong I was, about everything." She told him the full truth, her species, her crime, her exile, the arrogance that had defined her entire life. Du listened without interrupting. When she finished, he was quiet for a moment. "Do you still think we are insects?" he asked. "No, I think you are the most remarkable species I have ever encountered. You help without expecting reward. You love without counting cost. You build communities that survive through kindness instead of power." Ra's voice broke. "I have more advanced technology in my emergency beacon than your entire planet possesses, but you have something my people never had. You have heart." Du reached out and took her hand. "Everyone makes mistakes, Ra. Everyone starts somewhere. What matters is who you become." "I do not know who I am becoming." "I do," he smiled at her. "You are becoming someone who cares, that is enough." The emergency happened 2 days later. A young girl named Min had gotten sick. At first, it seemed like a simple fever, but it got worse quickly. She stopped responding to treatment. The local hospital was overwhelmed with other patients. Her parents were terrified. Du did everything he could, but he was a veterinarian, not a doctor. He knew his limits. "There must be something," Min's mother begged. "Please, she is only 7 years old." Ra watched from the doorway. The girl's vital signs were dropping. Human medicine was too slow. Human technology was too limited. Without intervention, the child would die. But Ra knew things. Medical knowledge was centuries ahead of Earth. She had learned basic procedures as part of her education. Things that seemed impossible to humans were simple to her people. If she helped, she would reveal herself. She would break the rules of her exile. She would change everything. She thought about the cold, proper choice. Stay hidden, follow the rules, let the human doctors handle it. Then she looked at the little girl's face, at her mother's tears, at Deuce's desperate attempts to help. These were the people she had once called primitive. These were the insects she had mocked. And they deserved to live. "Move aside," Ra said, stepping forward. "I can help." She worked for 3 hours. She guided the human doctors using knowledge they had never heard of. She described techniques that would not be invented on Earth for another century. She saved Min's life using nothing but her mind and her voice. When it was over, the girl was stable. Her parents wept with relief. The doctors looked at Ra with confusion and amazement. "How did you know all that?" one of them asked. Ra did not answer. She simply walked out of the hospital and into the night air. Du found her sitting on a bench outside. He sat beside her without speaking. "I broke the rules," Ra said. "I revealed advanced knowledge. When Commander returns, there will be consequences. Do you regret it?" Ra thought about the question. She thought about Min's smile when she woke up, about her parents' grateful tears, about the look in Deuce's eyes when he realized she had saved a life. "No," she said, "I do not regret it." Du put his arm around her shoulders. "Then you made the right choice." Ra leaned into him. For the first time in her life, she felt like she had done something truly good, not for status, not for reward, just because it was right. And that feeling was worth any consequence. That night, A's communication device beeped, a message from the ship. "Our year is almost over," she told Ra. "Commander will return in 1 month." Ra looked at her sister. Then she looked out the window at the small town that had become their home, at grandmother's house, at Deuce's clinic, at the orchard where Sung waited. "What will we do?" A asked. Ra did not have an answer, but she knew one thing for certain. She did not want to leave. The month passed too quickly. Each day felt shorter than the last. Each sunset was more precious. Each moment with the people they loved became a treasure to hold tight. Ra spent her days at the clinic, working beside Du. They did not talk about the future. They did not discuss what would happen when the ship arrived. They simply existed together, filling the time with small acts of kindness. A helped with the winter preparations at the orchard. She and Sung wrapped the young trees in protective cloth. They stored apples for the cold months. They walked through the bare branches and dreamed of spring harvests they might never see. "Will you remember me?" Sung asked one night. They were sitting on his favorite hill, wrapped in blankets against the cold. "I could never forget you," I said. "Even if I live for 300 years, I will remember every moment we shared." 300 years, is that how long your people live? Sometimes longer. We are built differently than humans. Sung pulled her closer. "Then you will have a long time to miss me." I did not answer. She just held on to him and wished time would stop. The night before Commander was scheduled to arrive, grandmother made a special dinner. She cooked all the sisters' favorite dishes. She set the table with her best plates. She lit candles that made the room glow warm and golden. "Sit," she commanded. "Eat. This might be your last meal in my house." The meal was quiet at first, heavy with unspoken words. Then grandmother cleared her throat. "I do not know where you girls came from," she said. "And I do not need to know. What I know is this. You came to my house as strangers. You became family. That does not happen often. That does not happen without meaning." Ra felt tears in her eyes. She had not cried in years before coming to Earth. Now she cried almost every week. "Grandmother," she started. "Hush, I am not finished." The old woman looked at both sisters. "Whatever happens tomorrow, remember that you have a home here. This door will always be open. This table will always have space for you. That is not a promise I make lightly." Du reached under the table and held Ra's hand. Sung did the same with a. "We want you to stay," Du said. "Both of you, if you can, if you choose to." "But we understand if you cannot," Sung added. "Your world, your people, your lives are out there. We cannot ask you to give that up." Ra looked at her sister. A whole conversation passed between them in that single glance. All their shared experiences on Earth, all their changes, all their growth. "We do not want to leave," Ra admitted, "but we do not know if we have a choice." The ship arrived at midnight. It appeared in the same field where the sisters had been dropped off a year ago. Commander stepped out, his silver hair catching the moonlight. He looked older than before, tired. Ra and A walked out to meet him. Behind them, Du, Sung, and grandmother waited at the edge of the field. They had insisted on coming. They would not let the sisters face this alone. "Daughters of," said formally, "your year of exile has ended. I am here to return you to space." "Commander," Ra replied, "we need to speak." Raised an eyebrow, "Speak then." "I was sent here to learn, and I did learn, but not what the council intended." Ra straightened her spine. "I learned that I was the primitive one. I learned that technology without compassion is worthless. I learned that true civilization is measured by how people treat each other, not by how fast their ships can travel." A step forward. "We insulted a species that showed us nothing but kindness. Humans took us in when we had nowhere to go. They fed us, taught us, and loved us when we deserved none of it. If that is primitive, then primitive is better than anything our world offered." Studied them for a long moment. His expression was unreadable. "You have changed," he said finally. "Yes," Ra agreed, "we have." "And the human who was brought to our ship's medical database 6 months ago. The child whose treatment protocols you provided." Ra tensed. "I broke the rules. I revealed advanced knowledge. I accept the consequences." "The consequences," paused. "The child lived. The human doctors learned techniques that will save other lives. You broke rules to do good." He almost smiled. "That is exactly what the council hoped you would learn." "What do you mean?" "The punishment was never about suffering. It was about understanding. Many believe humans are inferior. They needed someone of high status to learn the truth and bring it home." Looked at the humans waiting in the field. "It seems you learned more than expected." He stepped aside and gestured toward the ship. "You have a choice. Return home with restored status. Your crime will be forgiven. Your family will accept you back. Or, A whispered, "or stay here permanently. If you choose Earth, you cannot return to space. You will live and die as humans do, short lives by our standards, but perhaps full ones." Ra looked back at Du. He stood with his hands in his pockets trying to look calm, but she could see how tightly he was holding himself, how much he hoped. She thought about her, the cold halls, the political games, the endless competition for status. She thought about her father who had not contacted her once during her exile. Then she thought about grandmother's kitchen, the smell of soup on cold mornings, Du's smile when she learned something new, the way the town had welcomed them without question. "I choose Earth," she said. I did not hesitate, "So do I." Nodded slowly. "I thought you might. I will report to the council that the punishment succeeded beyond expectations. I will also recommend that Earth be added as a preferred destination for reformation, not because humans are primitive, but because they have something worth learning." He reached into his coat and pulled out 2 small devices. Emergency beacons, modified. They will not call for rescue, but they will allow limited communication with ships passing through this sector. Consider it a gift. Ra took the devices. "Thank you, Commander." "Live well, daughters of, live as humans do, with kindness, with community, with love." He boarded his ship. "That is the greatest lesson you can teach your." The ship rose into the sky, and disappeared among the stars. The sisters stood in the empty field, watching it go. Then they turned and walked toward the people waiting for them. Du caught Ra in his arms. "You stayed." "I could not leave." She held him tight. "This is my home now. You are my home." Sung swept off her feet and spun her around. "I knew it. I knew you would stay." "Put me down," A laughed. "You are going to make me dizzy." Grandmother watched all of this with a satisfied smile. "Good. Now come inside before you all freeze to death. I have tea ready." 1 year later, on a warm spring day, a married sung in the orchard. The apple trees were blooming with white flowers that fell like snow when the wind blew. The whole town came to celebrate. 6 months after that, Ra and Du had a small ceremony at the clinic. Grandmother officiated because she insisted no one else was qualified. The animals watched from their cages, and the dog sat at Ra's feet the whole time. The clinic expanded. Word spread about the veterinarian and his unusual wife who seemed to know treatments no one else had heard of. Animals came from across the region. The waiting room was always full. The orchard prospered. Sung's apples won awards at regional competitions. A learned to bake apple pies that sold out at the local market every week. And on clear nights, when the stars were bright, the sisters would sometimes stand outside and look up. "Do you miss it?" I asked once. "Our world?" Ra thought for a long time before answering. "I miss what it could have been. I miss the idea of a home among the stars." She looked at the house behind them, warm with light and full of people she loved. "But I do not miss what it actually was. Cold, empty, lonely. We were exiled here as punishment." "Yes, and instead we found everything we were missing." Ra smiled at her sister. "We found family, we found purpose, we found love." "We found home," agreed. They stood together under the stars. Two aliens who had come to Earth expecting to suffer and had found joy instead. The galaxy was vast and full of wonders, but sometimes the greatest wonders were the smallest ones. A warm meal shared with family, a hand held in the dark, a community that welcomed strangers. These were the treasures of Earth, and they were worth more than all the technology in the universe. Ra took her sister's hand and looked up at the sky one last time. Somewhere out there, ships carried reports about humans, about their kindness, their resilience, their extraordinary capacity for love. But Ra did not need reports to understand. She had lived it, and she would keep living it every day for the rest of her life. That was the greatest gift Earth had given her. That was home,